And we are rolling.
Hey, kids, guess what? You've asked for it. You've asked for it? The hell? I shouldn't have listened to that other thing before we started. You asked for it.
You asked for it.
It's time for another edition of Love to Hate. This has not been a smooth start in any way. I'm Philip Fullman.
And I am Brandon Luna. Hey, it's been a couple weeks, right?
It has. This has been such a cluster. Trying to get everything. Really, we need a place of our own.
We really do, yeah.
Because this is so ad hoc, trying to get everything set up every time. Yeah, we really need a studio of our own so that we can just set that up. We can have a producer, just, regular mics, regular seats. We can have soundproofing on the wall. We don't have to rearrange everything. It would just be nice. And we could get some really cool professional chairs as well.
Right.
So that would work out.
That would be nice, yeah.
Yeah, it would. So, again, we got to start the GoFundMe.
Yeah,
but
we do. Definitely.
I'd like to put it in a cigar shop.
That would be great. I think that'd be perfect, especially given that we like to smoke cigars while we do the show. So, yeah, that makes sense.
That would just be nice. You could put it in there next to you got the glassed-in humidor. You can put the studio in there. You could, you could have it playing out over the speakers in the shop, so people are listening to us while we're doing it. Mm-hmm. They can make faces. They can throw out questions, stuff like that.
Participate as much as they can, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's, but owning a shop that's one of my bucket list things. If I had to say I have a bucket list, that would be one of my bucket list items.
Oddly enough, was a idea that was recommended by a listener of ours.
Really?
Yeah,
what listener was that?
Bear Duplass. Damn it! Bear Duplessis? Bear Duplessis.
Bear, we apologize.
Bear Duplessis. Duplasia.
There we go.
That sounds right. I know it's wrong. Bear, we love you. And Bear is on several shows. He's on the Cigar Coop show.
And what's it? El Oso Fumar Takes?
Yes, he has his own show that he does interviews with and stuff. So, Bear, we love you, and thanks for the recommendation. And today we're going to talk about bucket lists.
There you go. So, I hate the term.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I'm not a fan of the term
overused.
Totally.
Was it the movie?
I think it's been overused
got that started.
That.
I mean,
I think it's been overused.
Did they just say we're going to name a movie after the phrase that's overused, or was that kind of the when that became part of the national conversation? I guess that people started talking about bucket list.
Right.
Which was it? Do you know?
I think bucket list as a conversation was going before that.
Okay.
And then the movie was just kind of a product of that. Is kind of where I see that. That was a point where that term kind of jumped the shark was with the movie.
Okay.
And now it's kind of on the downslope. But I bucket list as a term, I think the term doesn't really annoy me as much as the idea of it.
Right.
Because it seems that people have a difference of opinion on what a bucket list should be. I think, personally, it should be stuff that's obtainable that you want to achieve in your life. For me, that makes sense. Not like, I'm going to be the first, Mexican man on the moon. Like, that's not attainable. I mean, that's unless you're really already an astronaut and you're on your way to doing that. If you're working in a cigar shop, probably not going to happen. I mean, let's make a list that's realistic at least.
Kind of one of those things where it's like you can be anything.
Right.
You can do anything if you try hard enough and practice long enough. You can do anything. It sounds nice, and you want to certainly encourage people, but that's not true.
Right. There is limitations. People do have limitations.
I could go out, practice my swing. I could, hire a coach, have played baseball since I was a little kid.
Right.
Doesn't mean I can hit a Nolan Ryan fastball.
Right. There is something called talent as well.
Sure.
I think you have to be born with that, and that's something that you can cultivate.
Yes.
But a lot of times people just don't have a talent for something, and they try really hard at it, and they get frustrated, and they give up, and they automatically think they don't have any talent, which is not necessarily true. I think it's really about finding your talents and playing to those talents.
Well, and I think because as a culture, we value certain talents above others.
Right.
And especially when it comes to careers.
Right.
We look at somebody like, ooh, they're a doctor, they're a lawyer, they're quite successful. Mm-hmm. It's like, the guy with the roofing company makes a lot of money too.
Right.
But you don't consider that because it's manual labor.
Right. Or the guy with the construction company that has
Sure.
5 different construction companies and he's making millions a year.
Right.
Because he's a kind of a roughneck, or I guess roughneck is an oil term, but if he's just, he's just a
Kind of a blue collar guy.
proletarian, they see it as,
Right. We don't. There's not that value in society. But I remember when I was working at the community college, talking to a student, and he was down because he's like, I got to take these classes so I can get a degree, but there's really nothing I want to do. I'm like, what do you want to do? Because I want to do woodworking. And I knew in that moment he probably would struggle in a history class.
Right.
But if you put him in a shop class or just turned him loose with some wood and some saws and whatnot, he could probably make you a cabinet.
Right.
But not do so well sitting in a class. And it's like, it's a shame that he feels that he's not as good
Right.
as people who can go get their master's degree. It's like, you have a skill set. Who do you think that the president of the university with his PhD is going to call when he needs his
Right.
cabinet made?
Right. That actually goes to a different. I think there's a topic there that we can tackle later, and it's college. I think college is outdated. It's outmoded, and I kind of hate it. So I think that's something we can table.
I like
and
that.
talk about later.
Perfect.
Because I think there is definitely value to having a skill.
So bucket list obviously refers to kicking the bucket, which
Right.
when you think about it, most people find that to be a I don't know, crude phrase,
Right,
should
right.
be more sensitive about it. So, but somehow that has stayed in the vernacular, bucket list. I'm with you. I think it should be things that are attainable,
Right.
but maybe experiences as well.
Yeah, true.
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 Hey, I want to go see the Eiffel Tower. I want to see
The Grand Canyon.
sure.
Whatever. Yeah.
I want to see a real Monet. I want to see a real Da Vinci.
Right.
I want to see places where there was history, as opposed to it's an accumulation of wealth.
right.
That's to me more of the Tony Robbins, Joel Osteen. Like, hey, you can own a Rolex, you can own a Beamer, you can own a Mercedes. Before I die, I'd like to have this much money. Well, that's just about things that when you're
Right.
dead, it's not going to matter anyway.
True. Yeah.
But I'm with you. It gets overused. It's one of those phrases people just like, oh, that's on my bucket list.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people misuse it too, and they think of the term in terms of like, oh, that's on my bucket list because it's something I'm never going to do. It's like it's just this completely unobtainable stuff, and I think that's the wrong way to do it. I think your bucket list should be like, mine. I went to Arizona all the time for my job. Never went and saw the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen the Grand Canyon properly, but I'd rather wait, do it with family where it's special, than go by myself.
If you die without having seen the Grand Canyon,
right.
will your life be incomplete?
No, probably not.
Is there anything that you feel like a true bucket list item that you really need to do before you die, or life will just be, you'll always regret it?
I'd like to kill a person. No,
Jesus.
I'm joking. No, I'm joking completely. No, I mean, really, that's that extreme, right? Is there anything that extreme that I'm not going to be complete with? I like my life. I'm surrounded by good friends. I got family. There's really nothing that I have to absolutely do.
See, I don't think I have a bucket list. I have it'd be nice list, or
Right.
I would like to list, but certainly not a definitive, this needs to happen
Right.
where I'm going to seek it out list. Because honestly, if I die tomorrow, I won't be like, oh man,
Right.
I never got to, like, I did stuff.
Right.
I'm happy. I experienced things. As my dad used to say, we were talking about travel, or you could take a vacation. He goes, why? I didn't lose anything there. Like, fair point, Dad. He's just like, it's stuff. I've seen stuff.
Right.
He was happy. You go through life. You make friends. You lose friends. You fall in love. You break up. You experience life. You experience death. Just the whole gamut of it. And along the way, you have some laughs. And like at the end, what more is there?
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're a good person and have become a better person along the way and pass that on. But so you never jumped out of an airplane.
Right.
Is that
Which is one of the things I would like to do. Yep. I would. Like
Would you really?
I would. Yeah. I would totally love to skydive.
Is the plane on fire and about to crash?
That would be awesome. But no, I'm not going to seek. Again, I wouldn't seek that out. Like my bucket
Then
list would be.
why
I'd like to,
jump
I would
out of
like
a
to do, I would
perfectly
like
good
to
plane?
skydive. I would like to skydive is on my bucket list. Not I would like to skydive out of a flaming plane that's dying. No.
See, I can't think of a reason to jump out of a perfectly
that just
good
seems
plane.
really fun to me, but I'm kind of an adventurous type.
That seems just like a lot of falling. You could go to that skydive
The
place.
place, Ice Sky.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not the same.
They do have something cool now, though, and I'm giving out a free advertisement for this because I thought it was neat. How to Train Your Dragon 3 is coming out, and they're doing a thing where you put on a virtual helmet and you fly around and you get to be part of this adventure, and the guys will like kind of turn you and guide you so you see the right stuff.
What?
Yeah.
Are you like, okay, I this is going to sound like I'm taking a piss at it. I'm not. Are you seated on like a
No, you're
mechanical dragon and they spin it to...
No, you're just flying. You're flying in the air.
Are
and
you
you've
suspended?
No, it's iFly. So you're literally floating in the air.
Oh.
And you have a virtual reality helmet on, and they're seeing what the video is, so they can kind of turn you and guide you so you're following
So it's
along.
at iFly. Okay.
Yeah, it's at iFly.
That
yeah.
makes sense now.
And then
the
you can turn
segue.
360 and see the whole video, and
Huh.
kind of neat. A neat idea. You know?
Yeah. No, I think that sounds like it would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do one of those like with the blue. Actually, if they could do one of those like your Superman, that would be
Right.
pretty
How
cool.
badass would that be?
Yeah, where you're just, or just any generic superhero where you're just flying through the air
Right.
super fast.
Yep.
That
I'm going to turn the world backwards. Make my coffee hot again, because that's what I would use that power for if I had
Just
it.
to make
It's
your
like,
coffee hot
"Oh,
again?"
my coffee's cold.
Now wait a minute, hold on. Are we talking if you have all of Superman's powers? Because you could just use your heat vision to rewarm
That's
it.
true. That is true. I
You
did
know,
not think of now heat vision.
Work
was that,
harder, not smarter.
Was that there from the beginning, or was that?
I
one of
don't
those
think
add-ons?
so. I don't think it was.
Wasn't that like part of the Donner thing? Like that wasn't. Really
No,
a thing
no,
until
it had
the
already been in the
Oh, okay,
comics.
okay.
It wasn't one of the
The
original.
shield thing was the Donner.
That was that wasn't Donner. That was the guy who took over for Donner. Donner
okay.
didn't put that in his.
in his version.
Yeah, whoever they brought in, whose name escapes me.
Yeah.
He worked that into it,
Okay.
but that was never in the books or
Yeah, it was.
anything. But yeah, Heat Vision. It wasn't one of the original. I think it came about in like the '60s. When they started giving him, he's had some
So
stupid
that's
freaking
probably
powers.
on your bucket list is to own a Superman Action Comics episode 1 in mint condition.
Man, I mean, if that came about, but I mean, how many millions is that?
Well, if you happen to be in an Uber and there was one there.
Oh, then I would definitely be like, putting that under the jacket so nobody would see that. But I've read it because they've done reprints
Right,
and all of that. So I've read completely different than what anybody would ever expect who's familiar with Superman now. Like, watching a guy go over a ledge and go, "Well, that's what you get for a life of crime." The guy just falls and dies.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. He was a bit more tough when he started.
A little more morally flexible.
But yeah,
moral flexibility, I guess.
Yes. There are certain things like that. I would love to go to Metropolis, Illinois, where they do the Superman celebration.
Right.
They have a Superman museum. They have a huge statue of Superman in the town square. So I would love to do that. I'd also like to go check out Jerry Siegel's home in Cleveland, just to see that. But
Right.
just because it would be neat. But again, if it doesn't happen, I'm still okay.
Right.
I did see Graceland.
Yeah.
Which wasn't even on my list, but I was already in Memphis.
Right.
So
I haven't seen Graceland.
I don't know that really needs to be on anybody's bucket list. I mean,
You're a fan.
it's interesting. You would have to be a die-hard fan.
Super diehard.
It was fascinating. It was an interesting glimpse
Right.
into just what happens when you give somebody money who doesn't know what to do with it.
Right. Right.
You know.
There's a lot of those, like freaking Michael Jackson's thing,
Yeah,
the whole theme park in his house.
pretty much. Or
Yeah.
just build a hotel and stick your name on it, and then run for public office.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You could do that too.
There's that too. There is.
Yeah.
I think bucket list too. People tend to go a little light on it sometimes too. That's just become part of the vernacular. Like I'll be in cigar shops sometimes, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, man, I got one of those whatever that flying pig was that was only at the Bashert. I have a Bashert. Like, oh my god, man, that's a bucket list cigar for me. Like, really, you're gonna have a bucket list cigar?
Really?
Like that's something that's a thing for you. Like your life's not gonna be complete unless you smoke a Bashert. Like I don't, that's just not. That's so minimal for me. It has to be something like skydiving, going to Paris.
Sure. I can think, I could think of a cigar like, okay, if you could only have one cigar before you die, what would it be? Okay, I could probably come up with that. But yeah, I don't think I've had lots of good cigars, so I'm not shortchanged there.
But
I don't know.
We're on the different side of it, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. That's true.
We both work in the industry. We have access to a lot of really cool stuff.
That's true.
That a lot of the proletarians don't have access to. So
That's the average cigar smoker.
Joe. Yeah.
Man, I can't think of anything. Like I said, the Metropolis, Illinois thing. It'd be nice.
Right.
Grand Canyon would be interesting.
You haven't been to Grand Canyon?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't been there. I haven't been to Mount Rushmore. Been to London, which is fascinating. Anytime you see things in buildings that are older than your country,
Right.
not by a small amount, but by hundreds and hundreds of years, it's fascinating. Just to think those bricks have been in that position since before anybody decided to, rebel against the king. But yeah, lots of history there. That I found fascinating. Where else would I like to go? Niagara Falls? No. I'm told I should go to New York. They would find New York interesting.
Yeah,
man, here's the thing. So I grew up, obviously, in the 70s, and I watched a lot of cop shows and a lot of movies. So I'm really still of the opinion that once you land in New York, that somebody just punches you and that somebody dies like every 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm probably wrong.
That's pretty much right.
It just strikes me as not a friendly place. Now, I like the idea that I could order Chinese food at 3 a.m. just because it's a possibility. I like the idea that things are open later, like coffee shops. I don't understand why the coffee shops here close at 9.
Right.
Apparently, there's this thought of like, well, then the caffeine keeps you up. It's like, yeah, but then where do you hang out late?
You got places to do that there. It's the city that never sleeps, man.
Exactly. So that part sounds fascinating. Getting mugged does not sound fascinating. That does not sound interesting. That is not on my list of things to do before I die.
And I think, I've been to New York a lot of times, and I remember being in awe of it the first time I went, because it was a bucket list place for me. It's like, oh man, I'd love to go to Manhattan, stand in the center of Times Square, and just like be, And I had that moment. I went there for work. I was staying right off Times Square, which is probably not where you should stay, by the way. And I walk into the middle of Times Square, and I'm just standing there, and it's like that scene in the movie where that person's like if I felt like if I was, romantic comedy, I would have been doing spins in a raincoat with a handbag of some sort that's really expensive,
Nice.
Just something. It was like, and then like I'm standing there enjoying the moment, and a cop walks up to me and goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, just taking in the view, man. He's like, "You visiting?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, fucking move on. Don't be standing right here. People are trying to walk through here. You gotta move on." I'm like, oh, "Okay," like that's New York. And like a millisecond, it happens from the awe of being there to the get the fuck out of the way kind of thing, But for the most part, great people there. I had a lot of really good conversations with people. They're just random people on the street. You go into a bookstore and there's 2 Jewish guys having a fight about something, and you jump in the middle of it, and all of a
That's
sudden,
shocking.
all of a sudden you're Jewish, So it's just it's crazy fun. It's I had a blast there every single time I went. I think it falls into the same type of thing where don't go places where you don't know anybody or you shouldn't be at. Like if you're gonna be in New York, maybe don't go get a donut at 3 a.m. in a really sketchy neighborhood, because you're probably gonna get mugged. Use common sense.
Sure,
and
just like any place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because there's places here you don't do that either.
Right. Yeah, but there's definitely so many people there that the opportunity is definitely going to present itself a little bit more
to get mugged, or to just
to get mugged. Yeah, or to have the 3 a.m. donut. Either way,
3 a.m. donut does sound good.
Yeah.
We have that here, but I don't care for that place as much.
What, Krispy Kreme?
Hertz Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
They're okay.
They're not so great, yeah.
No, it's too much. Don't church up the donut. A donut is a very simple, beautiful thing. I don't need you putting frosted flakes and all this bullshit on it to church it up. A donut is a plain, simple, beautiful thing.
I will say I do like the maple bacon one. I think that was pretty good. But they do have a lot of weird, crazy crap. And it's just like the tacos nowadays, too. They've done...
Yeah.
The tacos have gone crazy. It used to be like a taco was $2, and now they're like... You go to Torchy's and it's $5 for one taco. Like, why the fuck am I paying the price for a burger for a taco? That's stupid. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, that's because the ingredients are cheap.
Yeah, plus they got sauerkraut and weird shit in there. I'm like, what are you doing?
What?
Taco? Like, oh, stop.
Man, that's what happens when the gringos get a hold of Mexican food.
Very much so. And the gringos get a hold of the donuts because the Asian people got it on lockdown. They do great.
Oh, man. The shop up the street, they're awesome.
Yeah.
They do great donuts.
They do. They're
and
fantastic.
It's just called donuts.
Exactly.
There's like no name to it, just donuts.
Yep. And they're fresh and they're beautiful.
And it's like a beacon. Mm-hmm. Man. Okay, so you got skydiving. You got the Grand Canyon.
Mm-hmm. So here's
I'm going to say things. I mean, do you include things like watching your daughters get married?
Yeah, I think.
Or
that's
I mean, is that
definitely-
just a life thing that shouldn't that should
that
isn't
doesn't
understood?
Really, it's not. That's understood. I don't think that's bucket list stuff. So here's a list of top 10 bucket list destinations. So this is from some website called Specialty
First website that popped up.
Specialty Travel. Yeah, first website.
Specialty Travel.
Is Specialty Travel. Oh, it's all Spanish. Shit.
Where do you want to go?
Where does you want to go? I can't think of there. We only go by bus. Egypt's Pyramids of Giza. That's a good one. I don't know that I need to see that personally, but it's cool. I think I could do that. Yeah.
I guess.
Visit the Galapagos Islands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trek to Machu Picchu.
That could be nice.
Visit the Grand Canyon. That's the
Yeah,
first
there
one
we
I
go.
got there. Marvel at the Taj Mahal. Any interest in that?
No.
No. It's pretty.
Yeah,
it's a
but I
building.
mean, it's
Yeah. Not. I would rather go like to Rome
sure.
personally. Yeah. Dive the Great Barrier Reef.
No.
No, I like diving. That'd be fun. Walk the Great Wall of China. That I'd be okay doing. I think that'd be cool.
That
I'd like
could
to go to
be,
China.
yeah. I don't know that I would want to go. I don't know. No.
I also feel like part of me, like, if the Great Wall of China was in America, which makes no sense, but we would.
I'll give
definitely-
it some time.
Yeah,
They're
but-
working on it.
exactly. But we would have like at every couple of blocks, we'd have like little food things and stuff like that. They would
Oh, hell yeah.
totally
There would
cheapen
be
it up.
kiosk and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There would be a guy on there selling you portable phone chargers.
Oh, yeah,
So you could charge your
totally.
battery and get your pictures.
Right.
Because your cell phone's going to die.
Right.
There'd be all of that. T-shirts.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, we would crap it up because it's what we do.
Take an ice cold dip in Canada's majestic Lake Louise.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing about that sounds thrilling.
See the Northern Lights. That's a good one.
That would be good.
My luck, I'd go all the way over there, and no, they didn't have them on today.
They're off.
Yeah. It's not the right season for that. But yeah, that's it. That's really it.
There's the Ice Hotel, I think, in
the one
is it
James Bond thing, yeah.
yeah, Iceland or wherever. That to me is fascinating.
Right.
It's expensive as hell, but that would be an interesting thing to stay in the Ice Hotel. You know, it's just the whole thing, carved out ice. You're sleeping on ice.
How do you sleep on ice comfortably?
They have
Ice
got
water
apparently they've got all sorts of like furs and stuff stacked and stacked and stacked, so you don't feel
bed? The cold.
the cold. Yeah.
Huh.
But you're also sleeping in your clothes, I'm pretty sure.
I would imagine so. Yeah, some sort of
Yeah,
big
so
heavy
that's-
jacket.
It just looks fascinating. It's probably one of those where it's more thrilling to just go look at it and then not actually sleep.
Stay there.
You know what'd be cool? A train ride circa like the 1940s or 50s.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're that fun anymore. I don't think you run into Eva Marie Saint and then end up on top of Mount Rushmore.
Probably not.
But yeah, a train ride like that could be fun.
I think that'd be fun too. Yeah.
You know, it's something
Cross-country
interesting.
train ride.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where you can stay in the sleeper and you've got the
Train car.
the dining
go to
car.
The dining car. Yeah.
Yeah. Steve Martin's trying to bum food from you.
Right.
Did you see they're doing a remake of that?
No, which one?
Of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Are they really?
Yeah,
That's
it's
be the third version of that then.
yeah, because the original was Brando and David Niven.
Yeah, is it bedtime stories or whatever?
Yeah, bedtime stories. And yeah, this one is Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson,
Oof, I hate it already.
and it's pretty much the exact same.
I don't like either of those actresses, so I will totally skip that movie.
I never know if I like Anne Hathaway or not. I usually fall on the side if I don't.
Right.
But yeah, it's basically just a rip off of that.
Yeah. Some part of me thinks that if Anna Hathaway did plays, she'd be the kind of douchebag that'd be like, do a really good scene and then look in the audience and go like, huh? See what I did there? Awesome. It's just like kind of that, I don't know. She just seems to pat herself on the back a lot.
Oh no, because I've never watched an interview because I'm not that interested in her.
Bad Catwoman. Bad Catwoman.
She was a bad Catwoman. How did I get on?
Eva Marie Saint. We were talking about trains.
Oh yeah, that's right. Eva Marie Saint. No, I love Eva Marie Saint.
Yeah, train ride trip.
That would be
cross-country
fun.
Thing, that'd be very cool. I don't even know if that's even a thing.
I don't know how they do that anymore. I mean,
Right.
or what the sleeper situation is like.
I just have a feeling I'd be sleeping a lot because that movement. I've done.
Yeah.
Trains just going
Plus,
downtown.
let's be honest. You always hear about trains derailing.
Right.
So it doesn't seem really safe to me anymore. I think you're just safer to fly and then just get there and be done with it and get to your hotel.
Right.
But in the romantic sense, it seems. What about a train ride through Europe,
That'd be cool.
like Sweden or Switzerland?
See, it's funny because you go to the romantic side of it, and I'm on the one train that's got the last train is full of gold, and they're trying to take it somewhere, and it's getting robbed, and I'm the last guy on the train that can do anything.
And all of a sudden, it's like Malcolm Reynolds just walks through, and they're trying to
exactly
to rob the train.
Exactly.
Or were you going more old school Western with that?
Yeah, I was going more old school Western with that, but yeah, Malcolm Reynolds works.
But yeah, you could do either one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That would be my thought. Is just kind of the old romantic part of that. But yeah, I would think a train ride during the Old West, that would just suck. That would not be on my bucket list.
No windows. There's windows but no AC, and just
just people romanticize those time periods, and it's like no, things were rough. We're not equipped for that.
Right.
We like indoor plumbing and indoor showers and
definitely
all of that. Air conditioning, central heating, central air.
That
would be on my bucket list if it didn't exist.
Right. I will say that on the cigar side of things, the one bucket list thing I want to do is I would like to go to Cuba.
Would you?
And, see that.
You can take the trips there now.
I know. Like, that's a bucket list thing for me. I think that'd be cool to do. I think that'd be, as a cigar smoker, as a lover of that whole culture, to be there and smoke a cigar there.
So
it's hopefully not fake.
What countries have you been to? As far as cigar related, there you got 3.
Yeah, just the Dominican Republic.
Just the DR.
Yeah,
okay,
the DR. That's it. Never been in Nicaragua. Never been to Honduras or Cuba. So
I've heard the DR is probably the nicer of the 3.
It's awesome. I loved every single time I went, and had a good time every time. But it's still a third world country, and it's still pretty sketchy. I mean, you're having a great time, but you're also with guys that have shotguns and machine guns and stuff.
Yeah,
so, it's like
see that part that kind of takes the fun out of it. I would love to see the factories, though. I mean, I have an idea of how they're made. You see pictures, you see videos of what goes on in the factory, but I think to be there would be fascinating.
Yeah,
just to see that happen, and that's where I learned from you that no cigar cutters. You just use your fingernail or you bite it, and everybody shares the cigar.
Yeah, when you're at a factory. It's weird. Yeah, let's just get it all gummed up a spit and hang. Here, you try this. I'm like,
yeah. I've had offers to go, like, hey, you could take the tour here or there. But the Dominican's the only place I would really like to go. It seems like the least dangerous of the bunch.
Yeah.
The Cuba trip, I think, would be fascinating.
I think so, too. Just as a history part of it, to be there. And to sit there and smoke a hopefully real Cuban cigar and have some good coffee and just have a good time, be around the people, party with them. I think that'd be fun.
That would be a fun trip. We could do it.
Yeah.
Wow, we could broadcast live from.
That would be awesome,
wouldn't it?
That would be.
Fantastic. I mean, I say live, but
that's a bucket list thing.
We could record it. You would like to take a trip to Cuba?
I would love to take a trip. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So that's a bucket list item.
Yeah. But see, that makes sense for me,
because it's
that's
travel.
Obtainable.
Sure,
it's travel. We just got to make the time.
It's a personal thing. It's something that you have you've enjoyed. Mm-hmm. You've got a career in it, so it makes sense that you would want to see it. Because that's really where, prior to Castro, that's where it started. That's where the industry really began. Not tobacco necessarily, but Cuba was certainly always known and still known for their cigars.
Yeah, totally.
Till everybody left. Mm. So yeah, be interesting to see that history. That I loved when I went to London, James J. Fox cigars, because they say that's a shop that Churchill frequented, which apparently he frequented every shop and just told everybody, no, I only shop from you. Customers still do that, but the nice thing about there was they had a chair that Churchill had sat in, and they've got it down what they call their museum, and you can just sit there. And sit in Churchill's chair, and they've got some of his cigars in there. Yeah,
you sat in the chair.
Yeah, I did.
I would be very upset if I didn't fit in that chair. I'd be like,
you'd be fine. And then they have a chair from Oscar Wilde.
Yeah,
and then they had some of his stuff, but mostly not like his writings, other than like, okay, here's like a bill that was sent to Oscar Wilde, something like that.
Right.
I actually, all kidding aside, I think they actually had like a couple of like late notices and bankruptcy notices. Poetry don't pay, man. Writing don't pay.
Right.
But yeah, awesome. that to me was interesting, and just meeting the people there. They were just so friendly.
Right.
I don't know. And then once they hear you're from Texas, everybody's just like, oh, Texas, and they want to know more about it. And the interesting thing, the shop is next to it's now a wine and cheese store, and that was the embassy for the Republic of Texas. And they still have a brass plaque on the archway in the alley.
That's cool.
Where it says, this is the, Embassy, Republic of Texas. Like, well, that's cool. So one of the guys is like, you should go check that out if you like your Texas history. I'm like, of course, I'm from Texas. We eat that stuff up.
Yeah.
So that was like an inadvertent bucket list thing. I could just check that off and you don't even know it.
Right.
There are those moments where once you experience them, I think you kind of realize, man, that this is like a bucket list moment, or a moment I will always remember even without planning it. Even without thinking about it, this is a moment I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. There's definitely those moments.
And I think those are better.
Yeah.
Because when we plan things, we're always disappointed because we set them up so high.
That's very true. Yeah. That's true.
That it can't live up. And then you find yourself accidentally in this moment. You're like, how great was this?
Right. Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. Yeah, I love those moments. And I think, like you said, that's just life moments. I mean, that's really what you remember. I mean, if you do, like, say your bucket list is to go to Paris and to go to Norway or to go to wherever, and you get all these things done, like, how many of those, if there were, say, 5 of them on the list, how many of those are you really going to remember? I would hope that you would have a good memory from each of those trips. But a lot of times, what I remember is, oh, man, I got so drunk. I completely slept through an entire day, and my wife had to try and carry me upstairs. It was an awful thing.
Or they all blur together because you're doing so much.
Exactly.
I remember, because there are people who have amusement parks on their bucket list. Mm-hmm. People who will finally get to go to Disney World, Disneyland.
Right.
And they're disappointed.
Right.
They've built it up so much that it just can't live up to what they were hoping for.
Yeah. So we wanted to take the kids to Disney World. That was not really a bucket list thing for us, but it was something we wanted to do. So we did. We stayed on property, did everything we were supposed to do, and for whatever reason, they didn't tell us till the last day we were there that because we were staying on property, we automatically had the jump to the front of the line thing. So the whole week, we're waiting.
You're standing in line
4 hours to get on one ride.
Maybe
2-3 rides a day.
You could have been VIP.
Could have been VIP the entire week. So that's what I remember from that trip. I was like, motherfucker.
Damn.
I wasted so much time waiting in lines. We could have been jumping to the front of the line everywhere. They didn't tell us,
I remember my brother tell me he went with his ex to Disney. I guess it was Disneyland. Disney World wasn't around yet. I don't know. But it's Disneyland, California.
Right. And
one of the guys in a costume came up, Pluto, Goofy, I don't know. And like, hey, you want a picture? And you're like, no. Yeah, because he was too cool for it.
Right.
And he said, as I got older, I always wished that would have been a cool picture.
Right.
I shouldn't have been so stuffy about it. That would have been a cool memory.
Right.
And that's kind of what I thought of when it came to like going to conventions and Comic-Cons and stuff is, now granted, it's not free, but just like, hey, it's a memory. Hey, I got to see this guy was in this thing and I took a picture with him. It's, it's a memory.
Yeah.
So other than the having to wait in line, did you like Disneyland?
Well, yeah, we had a blast.
Okay.
Disney
so you were
World. Yeah, but it was a blast. We Zoe was too little to really remember a lot of it.
Sure.
But Sydney and I and Danny had a really good time, and it was fun stuff, man. Yeah.
We should talk about amusement parks. We should
I
do a show on that.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good topic. Yeah.
Because I've not been to either of those.
Right. Love to hate relationship with that. You're like.
They're all kind of the same at some point. It's you got rides,
right?
I've been to Six Flags, Georgia, Six Flags, Texas, someplace in one of the Carolinas that I can't think of.
Okay,
and the 2 amusement parks we had in El Paso.
No, you had amusement parks in El Paso.
We did, man. We had Magic Landing, which was out on the east side. Really big. They had really nice rides, but it couldn't sustain. And there was always Western Playland, which was right there up against Border Highway.
Right.
Which, I mean, it had kind of a carnival atmosphere, but they had a couple of roller coasters, Ferris wheel, and the tram that took you across the park. And it was always a good time. Of course, that's where you wanted to take your date or something.
Right.
But yeah, it was, it was fun when you were in high school, but as I've gotten older, I'm just like, I don't see the appeal.
Yeah, I get you. We'll talk about that next time.
All right, we can do that.
We got that. We got college.
That's true.
Cool.
Look at there.
So bucket list, It's an overused term. It's not my favorite term, and I think, make it something that's achievable. Don't.
Yeah, going way out there. I want to write the great American novel. I guess that's achievable, but you got to be a decent writer.
Yeah, you have to have talent.
And that's the thing. And again, like I said, I think anything that involves the accumulation of wealth, that's not really a bucket list thing for me. I want to have a big house. That's just stuff. It's more about experiencing and things that, like I said, make you better, or things that you'll remember when you're dying.
Right.
When you truly are on your deathbed and you're thinking back, what are the things that'd be like, oh, man. You can reflect on those memories and they'll keep you warm, as opposed to, man, we really should have just gone ahead and got the bigger pool.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you're thinking that on your deathbed, you're kind of a dick.
Right.
So have we beat the subject to death, speaking of bucket list?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So, if you guys have any bucket list items, like being a guest on Love to Hate, having your name mentioned on Love to Hate.
Incorrectly several times.
Yeah, exactly. We are happy to do that. And here to tell you how to get that done is Mr. Brandon Luna.
Yeah, so if you want to give us some ideas for the show, or say some nice things, or even not nice things about us, you can do it on Twitter at the Twitterverse at Love to Hate Pod. You can also get us over at Instagram at also Love to Hate Pod. And don't forget to check us out over at the Facebook page. Like us on Facebook, and go over there to iTunes and give us those reviews as well. You can also find us on iHeartRadio and Spreaker and YouTube.
We're everywhere. We're going worldwide.
Hells yeah.
All right.
We're big in Spain.
Are we?
I have no idea. I just made that up.
I heard those shirts were big in Japan.
Right.
That'd be great if we were. That'd be a huge amount of listeners.
That would be.
Hey, kids, thanks for spending your time with us. We'll be back next week, so check us out then. Meantime, peace.
That's your new thing?
That's my new thing.
Yeah.